Hi, my name is Jez, and we're in this basement tonight to make some horror movie electronic music. I've been looking forward to making this video for a long time, and as the weather's gotten colder, I've started listening to more and more early synthesizer music, which has in turn led me to more and more horror soundtracks. I've recently discovered a playlist right here on YouTube called Electronic Phantasmagoria, Volumes 1 and 2, that are lifted straight out of kind of B-level horror movies. And as I found those, I was really drawn to a lot of the way they sounded, and I thought it'd be so fun to do something like this. And so this video today is going to be showing you kind of how I went about making a track that could maybe have been used in a horror movie of that time period. I also recently got a new analog modeling synthesizer, so I'm gonna be excited to put that sort of to the test and see if I can get some nice early horror sounds out of it. The place that seemed most natural to me was an arpeggiated, thick analog bass sound. I'm going to try that again. I wanted to start with a thick analog bass sound played through an arpeggiator. So I found a sound I liked on my new synthesizer, and I used it to try to get the bones of the track together. A lot of this style is really defined by its kind of driving bass, so I felt like that was probably the simplest place to start. The next piece that I worked on was to get a crashing, thundery texture, and I found an FM patch in the synthesizer that has this really nice kind of crashing sound to it. So I stabbed that in a couple times, especially in the beginning, and I think that it kind of gives the track, like, I don't know, I guess something exciting to open up with. Now that the low end is taken care of, the next thing I wanted to work on were some of the higher washing textures. A lot of the electronic Phantasmagoria songs have almost an erotic kind of bend to them, where the music is sort of lurching and lilting on, and is kind of syrupy almost. And I thought that synth strings might be the way to get to that kind of feel, the sort of the kind of I guess like sleazy is sort of how that the YouTuber who put that video up describes it, but there's something to it that makes it feel dangerous almost in kind of a sexy way. And so I thought synth strings with a longer attack maybe than normal, and then running through the tape echo on the Zoya, it really came out beautifully, and I really love this sound, and I wish that I had wrote down which sound it was on the synthesizer, but I'll just have to try to find it again in the future. The next bit that I wanted to work on was the Theremin type kind of mono sine synth sound, the kind of either like a UFO or kind of a ghostly sound. And I felt that sort of where things are now, there's a lot of mood and a lot of tone, but actually not that much directed melody. There's the arpeggio in the bass, and then there are kind of the washes coming from the synth strings, but having kind of a direct melodic line and having it be mono, so it's limited to one note at a time, is I think kind of what's going to tie the track together harmonically. And so I just very simply laid out a sine wave in my synthesizer and gave it a little bit of glide. This is what it sounded like. Now, something that I've been waiting to use in a track for a very long time is this tape. It is the Thriller Chiller sound effects tape that some very brief research online, it looks like it came out maybe in the 1980s, early 1990s, and was designed just to be something that you played out of your cassette player, maybe while kids were trick-or-treating or something like that. I think the runtime is about an hour. As far as I can tell, both sides are the same. It's basically just a bunch of stock sound effects being it sounds like someone's just triggering them on like an MPC or something, and they're just sort of doing like maybe a little bit cheesier version of what I do, which is just finding sounds and layering them. But there's a lot of really great groaning and sort of canned screams in it, and I think some of my favorite of the songs that are on that Phantasmagoria playlist, because they're ripped directly out of the horror movies that they're in. There's dialogue in them, or there's sounds of terror, and I think that having the analog compression on these people screaming, it really sounds good, and so I wanted to put it all over my track, which is what I did. So finally, because this is a fun project and not as serious as maybe some of the other things that I do, I added some direct dialogue samples from a horror movie that is very bad, but is one of my favorites. So if you can tell which one it is, definitely leave a comment, and I'll try to think of some reward or something like that. But for those of you who've seen the movie, you'll probably get it right away. I'm going to link to the electronic Phantasmagoria videos and the full cassette rip of the Thriller Chiller soundscape. Thankfully, someone else has just uploaded the whole thing, and it's exactly the same as the one I have. And yeah, I hope you have a great holiday, and don't forget to like and subscribe or leave a comment if you want to. Until next time.
O Manos, thou of primal darkness, thou who dwellest in the depths of the universe in the black chasms of night.
master is away.